Hi folks, how you doing? RussellTrueResults303.com. Check out the website, link in the description box. Mind, body, spirit, fitness. Putting the healing back in health. Coming at you today with a video about being pro-life. What does it truly mean to be pro-life? Because unfortunately, I think all we talk about is the abortion issue. Right? That's one of the main topics. I just made a video on the issue or a struggle that I have with people that have a pro-choice point of view. So I'll try to link that in the description box. Check that out as well. Once again, I want lots of comments on these videos. These are important topics and we need communication and comments and discussions. That's the only way we're truly going to be able to just solve the problem, or at least make strides in coming up with a solution, right? So what is this, the true meaning of pro-life? And of course it is protecting the child in the womb. If you are a pro-lifer, right? It's protecting the child in the womb. And I've heard it said best, the problem with Catholics, we have rosary prayers and things like that, silent protests in front of Planned Parenthoods and things like that, where we'll pray the rosary and things of that nature. But one thing I've heard that is best is we need to understand where these women are coming from. Right? We don't understand them, and sometimes it might be Catholics, it might just be another Christian organization, or someone that is just an atheist that is pro-life, and we judge them when they're walking through the door. Right? We don't get to know the woman and what her problems are and what her struggles are. Because maybe she just might be deciding to have an abortion because of that issue. She doesn't have support from her family. Her family is telling her to do it. Her boyfriend is pressuring her to do it. We don't know what's going on in the mind and body of this woman. So we need to get to know them. So start a conversation with them. If you're out there doing the protests or whatever, the silent protests, we need to know them. Give them literature. There are a lot of Christian organizations that are the equivalent of Planned Parenthood. They just are more in doing the pro-life issues and the helping them maybe with a thinking of adoption or something along those lines. So it's definitely about protecting in the womb, but it's getting to know these women and, maybe bringing up other options, adoption, things like that. And it also comes down to, I know the Knights of Columbus, I'm part of the Knights of Columbus. One of the things that we do is we donate money where we get the ultrasounds and we donate them to these smaller clinics, because I guess there's a statistic out there that says if when they go in for, their checkup or whatever it's called, if they see an ultrasound, they say it's like a 50% chance increase that they will not have an abortion if they're able to actually see the ultrasound. So I know that's one thing the Knights of Columbus do. We raise money and we donate ultrasound machines to these alternative facilities. All right, but now let's get away from in the womb. We need to be able to protect and guide these children outside of the womb. And what does that mean? Food, clothing, shelter, and water. We need to somehow make sure that we are doing this. Right? So I don't know, my church has a food bank, so they can come and get food for their family, for their children. The difficulty that I'm having, and I've been bringing this up to my parish, is we don't have a sign outside of our church that says food bank here. And it is on a busy street, at least for commuting to and from work. But nobody knows that there's one there. And there are probably thousands of cars that drive by there every day that do not know we have a food bank. And if they knew that, not only would these people possibly come for food, but they would donate food. Because we are the Catholic Church, of course, but we support the community. You don't have to be Catholic to come to our parish and get food. You can just be a normal person off the street. You can be an atheist. You could probably be a Satan worshiper. It doesn't matter. As long as you're coming in and you're needing help, we will give you food. We will help the community, but we need to advertise it as well. Clothing, same thing. We donate clothing to these shelters. Another big thing is just getting rid of the mindset of we need these popular brands. I grew up on Payless and Walmart and Kmart. That's probably why when I turned 16 and I was able to get my own clothes, I went crazy and was buying a $70 pair of jeans, this and that. I think we just need to understand that, hey, clothing is clothing. It doesn't matter. You don't need Nikes. You don't need Polo and Guess and all this. We just need to make sure that we are clothing these children. Then, of course, a roof over their head, water, food, all these things. And then, of course, I guess a big issue now I don't have on my little board is just bullying in school. I know this is a big thing. It just popped in my mind. Teaching our children to stand up for what's right. And not being upset if they get into a fight at school because they were helping and protecting a friend or just someone else. And then just having our children be more open in general to their classmates. It's going to go a long ways. It's going to go a long ways. Okay? And once again, I want you to comment in the comment box. What are some ideas? That's what this is about. Trying to get ideas. When someone else clicks on this video, we get more ideas of what's going on and how we can come up with solutions. That's what it's about. Finding a solution. So we need participation in that comment box. All right? Next is going to be education and finding a job, right? These college students are having difficulties finding jobs nowadays. They might not even be able to get into a college. That's where these trade schools can come in to play. One of the best quotes I've heard was, everybody wants to get into the corner office, but we have forgot how to build the corner office. I listened to a gentleman, a rapper / political activist, Killer Mike. Definitely look him up. He's got some interesting thoughts. He said with his child, he told his child, I'm not sending you to college. You did horrible in school, this and that. What trade do you want to do? You want to be a mechanic? Do you want to be, a chef, something like that? So he's like, I'm sending him to a trade school, so at least he is knowledgeable on some form of work, and he can use that welding, whatever the case may be. And he can use that as a career. If he wants to go to college, once he starts making money, he can do these other things that can help. And once again, I think it's also just letting these children know they don't have to go to a university. You can go to a community college just as fine. I got a buddy who makes a lot of money, and he did everything at a community college level. And then his last year or two, he went to the School of Mines here in Colorado, which is an expensive engineering school, and he got his degree from there. But he did everything at a community college, online schooling, and then he went and did the School of Mines, which is like $30,000, $40,000 a year, I think. So we need to let them know that it's okay to go to a community college. It's okay to go to a trade school and do something that way. And then, of course, just getting them a job. One thing for you that are in college, if you're watching this right now, or your children, let them know that a good thing is they need to take an internship. I've mentioned this before in other videos. My cousin got his degree in accounting. When he went to apply for these jobs, everyone declined him and said, you don't have any experience. And he said, well, how about I get experience? I'm straight out of college. Well, you didn't have an internship. His friend who was there graduated at the same time. She did the internships instead of getting another job. She got the job of her dream in one of the top 4 firms in the United States, and is at 30 has her dream job. Now, once again, there's also an issue with that. He says he talks to her and she's really unhappy. But she had her dream job. She's making $80,000, $100,000 a year, has the house, has this, has that. But unfortunately, she doesn't have a husband. She doesn't have a family, so she's struggling. But that's a whole different topic. Next is healthcare, right? That's a big issue here. And now with Obamacare, I think it got rid of one of these things, or whatever they want to call it, free healthcare, whatever you want to call it. I know it shouldn't be called Obamacare. They've been trying to push it through years previous. But one of the things is, I think, I've mentioned this before, I'm on the fence of free healthcare. It's a difficult topic. But one thing I've mentioned before in another video is healthcare starts at the house, at home. You should be eating right. You should be exercising. And this is going to ensure that you are healthier for a longer period of time. You're not going to need medication, hopefully. Hopefully you're not going to get cancer, any of these things. And it's a way of free healthcare. Just taking care and, having responsibility for your actions in itself is a form of healthcare, right? You shouldn't be smoking. You shouldn't be drinking, exercise, eating correctly, things like that. And then the next one, which I don't think they have anymore, I remember people saying there was something, I just got catastrophe insurance. I'm not sure what it was called, but it was an insurance, in case you break your leg or you need an immediate surgery for an appendix or something like that. But I think unfortunately with the free healthcare now you can't purchase that type of insurance anymore, because now the insurance, even if you're a male, that's the bad thing. Even if you're a male, you have to pay for birth control as a part of your plan, just because they have these general plans that people have to purchase. But so for me as a male, I still have to pay for a contraception type plan, even though I'm a man and I don't need contraception. But anyway, so that would be nice if that was available, but it's not. But once again, healthcare starts with you, your food choices, your exercise, things of that nature. Next is going to be death, right? We all die, so we need to figure out a way that we can help in this process. Of course, my father passed away. It was like $6,000, $8,000 to get him buried, and we could have gotten it for free because he was in the military, but then everybody would have had to travel an hour and a half to the military cemetery. For me, I wouldn't have cared. I would have done it that way, but my uncle, who was in charge, my dad left him in charge. He decided, hey, we're going to pay and do it this way. Hey, it is what it is. He had the money to do it, whatever. But once again, this can be expensive, so we need to figure out a way to help people. I think that's why a lot of people will have a little mini life insurance policy, $10,000 in case I die. We can get this taken care of, and nobody has to worry and be burdened with that. But the next thing with the Catholic Church is, the dignity of life, the dignity of death, and we are against euthanasia for that reason. Is you let them die a normal death. You're not going to use euthanasia. And once again, for us, that is just the respect of life, letting nature take its course. So for us, we're always going to be against euthanasia, against doctor-assisted suicide, just because I think, how it goes even in a will or something like that. They can't change their will if they're not in their right mind. So why would you let them do a doctor-assisted suicide if they're not in their right mind? It's that same concept. And of course, before they go into major surgeries and things like that, they'll do, no resuscitation and things like that. And then another issue with that, I was listening to Catholic radio, of course, and they said something about there is a lot of doctor-assisted suicides in other countries. And they said the downfall, I can't remember if it was like Denmark or Holland, somewhere in Europe. And there were people that were, husbands and wife. One of them had cancer and was going to die. And they were just, this person, 50, 60 years old, was just doctor-assisted suiciding himself so they could die together. To me, that's just absurd. It's crazy. It's crazy. And then it gets to the point to where a doctor, I can't remember, there was some other crazy example that they brought up to where something happened, the doctor said, no, we're not going to do, I think it was, they weren't going to pay anymore for the cancer treatment or something along those lines. They're like, hey, but we can do doctor-assisted suicide and we can just end it right now and get it over with. But they wouldn't give them more medications or more treatments for their stuff. So I thought that was pretty crazy. They wouldn't give them more medications for their illness, but they would do that. So anyways, there it is. Truly pro-life. We've got to be able to help these people from conception to death. And once again, I probably missed some things. Put in the comment box your thoughts and what you think is going on. So I hope that helps. Subscribe to the channel. Share and like these videos.